What do you think? Should I wear this skull and the dagger, or the hoop and the dagger?
That was a seamless cut.
Yeah. Shout out to hooks and daggers.
Shout out to technology. Shout out to cloak and dagger.
What a skank. That skank right there. Skank's dead.
Yeah, I love when he does that. He's over there. Shout out to Vince.
Woo!
Playing with the keyboard.
Wait.
All right. Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back to the
Into the Night
podcast. Starring your boy, DJ Villain.
And co-host MC PBK.
As always.
What's going on, everyone?
Welcome back to the Necropolis.
What is it? 4 seasons in a week?
Yeah, 4 seasons in a week. Boiling.
And fucking freezing on Monday. And then like
wet.
62 today.
Yeah. And
wet, boiling, freezing,
and kind of decent. Wet, boiling, freezing.
I was just saying like hot or like, I don't know.
Yeah, something. Humid.
Thrashin wear.
Humid's all around humid.
Wow, humid, yeah.
Anyway, we are once again back here on episode 105.
Wow.
Discussing
That's right, 5, yeah.
with Thrashin, whizzing all over your face with Thrashin. Starring Josh Brolin and Robert Russler and Pamela Gidley.
In her debut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 1986, directed by some guy, David
Winters.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is like a along the lines of what we were talking about, Rad, and a couple other those like
Airborne.
that
was
extreme sports kind of movies.
Films.
Yeah. But yeah,
Quest.
we had never heard of this before, ever, until it popped up randomly on our streaming
I heard
service.
about Rad years ago, but
right, yeah, and
that
I'd actually
so
seen
hard
it.
to find, yeah.
But I was very surprised we had never heard of this movie. It was not on our radar whatsoever.
And it was free, right?
Yeah,
on Prime. Okay,
completely
good.
Free on Prime with your subscription, of course. And
check it out, guys. Yeah, it's worth it.
It's definitely a deep cut from the 80s.
Brolin is in this is his first leading role,
yes,
and his second all around, I believe, right after.
This is right after Goonies,
yeah,
which was the year before. And then we also have Robert Russler from
Russler did Freddy's Revenge,
Freddy Part 2,
and Jess brought this up. Weird Science.
Weird Science. He's Robert Downey Jr.'s little
Iron Man's homeboy.
They're the little bully cronies.
Yeah,
together. But yeah, that's basically who it stars. And you want to start with
So Hard.
So Hard.
This movie.
How this goes?
Yeah, this movie definitely made me so hard.
So hard.
Once again, one thing that'll jump out: the music, the clothing, the hairstyles, the hairdos. It is a skateboarding movie, so similar to like North Shore, right, which is in Hawaii, and then Gleaming the Cube that came out 2 or 3 years after this. Overseas title, A Brother's Revenge, or something with what's this? The boyfriend from Heathers.
Oh,
fuck, Slater.
Christian Slater.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in it, and he's got some way wackadoo hairdo in that film. But
that I believe.
Yeah. So it takes place in Cali, L.A. proper. Get a lot of great scenes of Venice. Affirmative. Venice Beach. You get to see Arnie pulling that guy off of the phone booth. Saying, you got a serious attitude problem.
I don't care what you're doing. Pick me up.
Yeah, you got a serious attitude problem. Sarah Connor. And as we just finished watching it, you and I, Villain, had we were just assessing how grimy. Like
this is your second time. This is my third time watching this.
My second time watching it
for homework purposes. But yeah,
but so even like the main boulevard that's supposed to be the tourist spot It's a bunch of like dirty pawn shops.
Yeah.
And jewelers.
Casual sex. It said it right across the window. It was like,
no, but
wow.
even like the day scene, like later on in the film when they're like joyriding around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck would go on vacation?
It's pretty
here?
sleazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into our first. Basically, we establish in our opening scene
the sides,
the ramp locals, and the daggers. Yeah. Ramp locals led by Josh Brolin, who's in town from L.A. with his little cronies. They're not like people he knows, as far as I can tell.
Did they say where he's from?
No, they didn't.
No Indiana.
In the beginning, there's an opening shot where it says like, "Good luck in L.A. You're gonna kill the competition," and then it says, "Here's $30 from mom. Like, don't spend it on beer.
Buy this RV with $30."
Yeah, and we said that house that he leaves in the beginning,
right,
he never goes back to.
Yeah,
and we don't know whose house it is.
Yeah.
There's nobody in there, and he basically is living out of a trailer or Winnebago,
an RV, Winnebago,
out of the back of his buddy's house. But and then the daggers, he calls them punk poseurs.
Well, because the ramp locals, mind you, are from
the valley,
and the one guy Monk was also.
He says, "I remember
like
when
Herbert.
he lived in the valley, man."
But he had
was
some
like
other
Ralph
name
or something.
Yeah, he was like, I remember when he was Ralph from the valley.
Yeah,
now he's Monk.
No, he thinks he's hard.
Yeah,
but yeah, and then they go to Venice Beach, which is
the spot.
The spot. That's where everybody's like
the battle
hanging
spot.
out.
The breakers, the punkers, the
breakers, yeah. And then we've got
the new wave kids,
the ramp locals, and the daggers. Basically, meet up for their first little confrontation at the Venice Beach skate park, which is actually still, I believe, there.
Yeah, when I was in the military, this is already like 10 years ago, we made it a point when I was stationed in San Diego to go to drive up to the 2
Venice
hours
Beach.
on the 5 to L.A. and then
see all the sights. Yeah,
Universal Walk, Santa Monica Pier, and Venice Beach, and I don't know. We'd have to like do a deep dive, but the ill scene where Keanu Reeves, when he gets lumped up by the surf Nazis in Point Break.
Oh yeah.
I believe that's Venice.
I think
Beach
it's the same
as well.
spot. Yeah,
when he's like, this is the part where you guys tell me where yuppie insects need to like get any more. He says like, and Kiedis, who's in this film, he's like, nah, man, that would be forget about that. That would be too easy. And then you got dude from Cyber. He's like, we're just gonna fuck you up.
That's a perfect segue, because our very next scene, after a little exposition between Chrissy, played by Pamela Gidley, and Josh Brolin's Corey, we head over to the Thrash Bash, as that gentleman says
Eddie
on
Munster.
stage.
Yeah.
And who stars in this Thrash Bash? PBK. It's a very notable group of people.
Well, I just gave it away. Anthony Kiedis. So you have a first
1986
album,
version.
86 version of the RHCP Red Hot Chili Peppers, with the only original surviving members that I would know from the mainstream years, like we said, was Kiedis and Flea.
Kiedis and Flea.
But you said the drummer and the guitarist were.
Yeah,
it was before John Frusciante.
I believe this. So. The guitarist is most definitely Hillel Slovak.
Right.
Rest in peace. Yeah. Died in '88. And then I don't remember. I didn't do enough research to know if it's either Jack Irons or I can't remember the other guy. His last name is Martinez. It's one of those two as the original drummer and who's in this film with them.
And he had a World War I fighter.
Yeah,
fighter
pilot,
yeah,
bomber helmet on, and
Anthony
Anthony Kiedis has got bleach blonde hair, and Hillel Slovak's playing that dual neck guitar, which I think is a bass guitar and then a guitar, regular guitar on top. But they killed it. They're playing.
Freaky Styley is that album cycle, and I gotta say, right, you could whoever mixed that sound,
it was great.
It was done really well.
I only had one complaint about this scene. And that was all these goons out on the dance floor with their skateboards.
Yeah. On sawdust.
Skater hoedown. Who does that? Like, I think you had said this before last time about
Hillbilly hoedown.
They made this up for this movie. Nobody's like skating on the dance floor.
Everyone would just be skanking,
doing
or
like
pogoing,
manuals
or moshing or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's also the scene where they like jack all his liquor in the beginning before he gets in there.
Oh, you trying to open up a little bar, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So where's my jet fuel, man? They confiscated me at the door. It's just a party, It's a little skater party. And
I would want to do cocaine at that time.
Yeah.
I was 17 at that time. Yeah.
But we then have Chrissy and Corey kind of steal away from the madness.
Well, we didn't introduce the character of all characters. if we do have this couple, right? If Josh Brolin is the hero, what the hell's his name? I forgot it. Randy?
Corey.
Corey. Okay.
Corey is the name.
So
of
Corey,
Josh Brolin's
Chrissy,
character.
Pamela Gibley.
Pamela Gidley is Chrissy.
And then Chrissy is in town from, I'm going to make this up, Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is
Somewhere
the
in
original hometown of her movie brother, Tommy the Hook Vercetti.
Tommy the Hook Vercetti. You're absolutely right. We completely forgot
Played by me.
We completely forgot
Played
to
by Robert Russler.
to introduce him. Played by
Yeah.
Robert Russler.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's basically
Grecian god.
he's the leader of the Daggers.
Yeah.
And his sister's in town. And
For the summer.
as far as I can tell, the Daggers don't like anybody. There's not they're not rivals with the Ramp locals. They're just a bunch of assholes that are like, no, we run L.A.
The precursor to the
everybody keeps talking about.
Precursor to Lost Boys.
Yeah,
basically.
and they're basically just like the Outsiders meets
The Warriors. Actually,
yeah.
Even actually that one scene where they're introduced when the Ramp locals are in that bullshit like hatchback.
Yeah, and they like come
They're
over,
coming in deep like over that hill.
starring we got to mention T.A.
Tony Alva.
one of many of real deal skaters that are in this movie
from the Zephyr team.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that. But so yeah, we have the Hook Vercetti and
the diversity, right? We've got all these we got
his
Asian
gang is
skaters, black villains, Latino.
we have AC Rufio, aka Rufio Slater.
Yeah.
It's a very colorful and diverse crew of gang members.
Al Leong from Big Trouble in Little China, just with dreads.
With dreads,
yeah.
Shout out to Egg Shin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. So after the thrash
Chinese
bash,
black magic.
we have Chrissy.
Magic of the blackest kind.
Yeah, Chrissy and Corey are basically like have their first little night out. It's just a cute little date, and that's where this like kind of like teen movie aspect of it comes in. Josh Brolin's,
I don't even think that this movie's probably rated PG-13.
It probably
right?
is. Yeah.
So
There's no real drug use or
knife stabbings. Nothing.
Nobody dies.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we get a little conversation about what exactly Thrashin is.
Yeah.
Well, what do you thrash?
What do you got?
And that's
the whole mentality.
But that for like movie
idea,
nerds and buffs, this Jimmy Dean film, Rebel Without a Cause, was the same thing. What are you rebelling against, kid? Well, what do you got?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's basically their little, summer romance starting off.
Well, an automatic
montage after montage in this movie.
Well, it's kind of like Outsiders as well.
Yeah.
So that the Ramp locals would be, ironically, they're the more clean cut kind of kids, but they are the greasers, in fact, because the antagonizing group
and the Socs
are the
them.
dirtbags, the daggers. So, having said this, you got it.
This is very early Crypt versus Blood.
Crypt versus Blood. So you got Chrissy kind of representing like the Cherry Valance, Diane Lane's character in Outsiders, and Corey kind of being basically like Ponyboy Curtis. So as always, for movie purposes of getting the plot going, these two obviously from diametrically opposed worlds,
so to speak, within the skating community.
Montagues and Capulets getting together, she being the younger brother. China Girl from '86, which is another one we should watch later on, is similarly, it's written the same way, where the younger sister of a rival gang member falls in love with the rival gang kid from the other side.
West Side Story.
Right, redone 100 million times.
Yeah.
With China Girl, it's done with it's done brilliantly by Abel Ferrara from Bad Lieutenant and King of New York. It's a Chinese triad or whatever gangs from Chinatown and good old boys, Italian Goombas from Little Italy and a New York that doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, moving along, I guess the first indiscretion is
pool competition. That would be the first,
right, with the Jacks.
Yeah. So,
I was jumping ahead to them burning the ramp down, but
that's a little bit further ahead.
Yeah.
But so our boy Corey
gets entered.
He's in town for two things basically: the pool competition,
the L.A.
and the
massacre.
L.A. massacre.
Right.
Yeah. So, basically, we have an exposition here, another montage. This movie is a lot of montages.
It is.
Starring some of notable skaters today. This is a good part to start talking about the skater aspect of this movie because this is the first full on, besides the opening credits, this is the first full on legitimate part of the movie
where there's a lot of footage.
Yes, footage of people doing different tricks left and right, and it's not just Corey's stunt double doing it for him. We've got Tony Hawk, first and foremost, we saw.
Lance Mountain.
Tony Alva himself, who's also a character in this movie, is also a notable skater of the time.
Yeah.
We were talking Bones Brigade.
Yeah.
Dogtown, all that stuff. They even mentioned, what are you doing in Dogtown this summer?
Yeah.
This is right at, we talked about
the
last
zenith.
time.
Of
So
80s
one of
skate culture,
height of 80s skate culture right here.
Yeah.
You got Steve Caballero.
I said Christian Hosoi, who was Tony Hawk's rival actually in real life when it came to vert ramp skating.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And it's
Mike
really
McGill
cool.
and I could have swore Tommy Guerrero was in it. And then these guys, what's funny?
Well, remember we looked it up. Not everybody who's in the credits. There's more people that were,
but like with stunt people,
stunts and like
the last
extra things
scene.
in the scenes. So there's a lot of people we probably are missing out on. But there is
these guys later on
they great skaters.
They
in this
all
movie.
So in essence, it's almost like it's like a commercial for Bones Brigade, which would have been the second generation that took the baton that was passed on to them from guys like T.A., Stacy Peralta, and Jay Adams, I think, is the other guy. These were the guys that started it in the 70s.
Right, that's the first wave,
with the Zephyr team. If I recommend all Into the Night audience fans to check out the 2001 classic documentary about that team called Lords of Dogtown. I'm sorry, no. That was Dogtown and Z-Boys, which then they made this awful 2005 fictionalization of it with Heath Ledger in it. But this was notable because it was narrated by Sean Penn.
Oh, okay.
Who grew up with those kids kind of. So
that's right, yeah. He was definitely an LA kid.
He was an LA kid, yeah. So they fun fact, those same guys like Caballero, Hosoi, Mountain, Mike McGill, Tony Hawk. A year later,
they all went on to. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, they did Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol, with like an obvious tie-in. Like in this one scene in a mall, they have a ramp in a mall for like a car giveaway. Like, come on, just so these guys could be in the film. Well, props to the Bones Brigade for sure,
right?
And the Z-Boys,
the
Z-Boys.
After this, then we have like the third wave, and arguably the final wave of skater fandom and
the ESPN X Games wave,
and like the Tony Hawk era, with people like Jamie Thomas, Caballero was in there too.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. And some of the older dudes were definitely kind of taken over, but this is great. I love, as somebody who used to skate when I was in high school and junior high, it was great to see a movie like this later on in life, which kind of had a nostalgia factor for me.
Right.
And I think it's also great for something like this to be on for other generations to see. Like we said, I'd never seen this movie as a child.
Yeah.
And I totally would have been all over it. But shout out to all the pro skaters and this movie for kind of putting that into the limelight at this point in time.
Shout out to Peter Weller's son.
Yeah, Peter Weller's son at the end. Anyway, so pool competition. We got our boy Corey doing his stunt double doing stunts for him.
He's freestyling. He's thrashing, as it were.
Yeah, shots of Josh Brolin. And then the Daggers decide to get real asshole and throw some jacks right into the vert pool ramp thing, whatever you want to call it.
Causing him to wipe out.
Yeah, and he just wipes out in the bowl and hurts his shoulder.
Scrapes his shoulder. First of many injuries he's going to incur in this film. Yeah, he does get beat up a lot.
Yeah, and then it's basically on at this point. It's no longer just a friendly rivalry.
Drawn,
yeah, they drew a line in the sand.
It's like, you're trying to fuck my sister, which he ultimately does anyway.
Yeah.
And you guys, there's only one skate gang. This town is.
That's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
You're on it, PBK, with segues here, because that's the very next thing. He calls her on the phone, and your boy Tommy the Hook. Tommy the Hook Vercetti gets real dramatic with it.
Yeah. He gets very chicken etouffee about it.
Yeah, I do declare I have the vapors.
Well, who's this now? Yeah.
And then it doesn't stop Corey from coming over and giving her a little. Yeah.
So how does Tommy the Hook Vercetti say it? He's like,
Bitches leave.
he says, Corey, and one more thing.
Yeah.
But he's holding the receiver so fruity. He's like, hey, Corey, one more thing.
One more thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
hangs it up. It was like such a like a 8th grade girl move.
And if you go around my sister
one more
again,
thing,
you're dead meat.
I hung up on him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That ought to teach. That ought to put a potato in his tailpipe.
so I want you to tell me, PBK, about your favorite part in this movie, or what is your favorite part in this movie, and why is it this extra long
air guitar
sex
part?
scene that happens?
Well, because I'm a
Don't.
take my breath away. Shout out to
Dun,
Terry
dun.
Nunn. Probably still hot. From Berlin. Shout out
He
to
is
Berlin.
So hard.
Yeah, well, everybody knows I'm the resident sleazoid of the Necropolis. In the immortal words of Mrs. Poole, a.k.a. Edie McClurg, I'm such a horn dog.
Yeah.
It's done very tastefully, a.k.a. very Cheez-Its, craft cheesy. It's done very hot Cheetos, like in the couch cushions of a futon.
So perhaps maybe we were wrong earlier. This might be R-rated strictly because of this scene.
Yeah, well,
I don't remember if there's
no
any...
nipular footage.
Right,
Or
I
there's no
don't
bush.
remember.
There's no nose bush or nothing like that. But it's done very sensually. They pork in his RV, which I think is very romantic.
He's gonna have sex with her in an uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
You mean like the back of a Volkswagen?
She's slowly removing his ripping vintage Susie and the Banshees tour T-shirt with the sleeveless, and they're fish kissing, and it's very take my breath away. And the cool part about it is he walks her back to Dagger HQ, right? Tommy the Hook Vercetti said, you know what's funny? They don't mention, like, these kids don't work. How do they have this, like, 4-story house?
Because,
attic, basement in California.
There's got to be like 13 to 14 of them all lit, coming
There's
and
like
going.
20 of
paying
them.
whatever money they
$10
scrounge
each,
up
like
from the
drug
gutter
money.
in
Yeah.
rent. I mean, you remember that one scene?
Panhandling,
right before he picks her up to boink her.
Oh, there's like 40 dudes wrestling on
in the
couch.
front room while like all the girls are playing
it's a
dress
fucking
up.
trap house, dude.
They got to be
It's a
selling
flop
drugs,
house. Yeah.
or they just like they're like Ninja Turtles. They just steal TVs off the back of trucks, and sell them to the Foot Clan or something. I don't know, man. You're right.
Like, how do they get
Bunch of
food?
bums.
How do they get food? How do they have utilities? Like, how do they own real estate? It's amazing.
Yeah.
But so he drops her off, and he says, kind of an asshole move. He says, "Call you next week." She says, "No, call me tomorrow."
Yeah.
There you go. Puts it to him.
But
Pins to him.
after this, immediately we then have the next skate scene. So it's like skate scene number 2, where the daggers, very Terminator, ba 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 da ba da 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 ba da da.
They somehow were waiting for him.
Yeah, they're just like, it's him.
Tommy Hook and Monk were hiding in the bushes, snorting blow or something,
Jerking each other off or
jerking
something.
each other off in the bushes, and they go after him. Very Kyle Reese final pipe bomb scene.
Yeah. But
And it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty dope. I think they're doing Flying V Mighty Ducks formation. They're on Whittier Boulevard.
The best part is that they're like, let's get him, and then like as they're chasing, they're all just like relaxed on their skateboards. They're not really moving. Everybody's too cool to like show any effort.
Well, he's hauling ass, and they somehow make like 20 miles to all LA. They're like if it was like San Andreas, it's like Ganton.
Yeah.
And like the
all the way
redneck
from
part.
Los Santos to San
Los
Fierro,
Santos.
all the way to the Vegas place and back around.
There you go. Wow.
And then they go to the parking garage. They're
Upwards and
upwards.
Yeah.
It's all fucking weird.
Defying gravity.
And it culminates at the bus where he gets away.
He's on the roof.
Yeah. It's silly.
Shout out to a bus being 75
Shout out
cents.
to get this rice burner moving.
Mad insensitive.
Super insensitive the way he called out that guy.
2021.
It wasn't even
a white guy.
It wasn't even like a Kawasaki or a Yamaha. It was just like an Italian
a
scooter.
Ford. Yeah.
He should have dropped like an Italian, slur on him.
Yeah.
But
Get your guinea vehicle out of here.
After that, we have. He says, "He got away, man. It's okay. I know where the ramp is."
Right.
And then they burn the ramp down.
The first cut is the deepest.
Yep.
So,
They're playing like some like punk music while they're burning it down. It's kind of cool because they're like they're playing up all angles of like the whole skater scene all the way from punkers up to
What was the song?
skaters and surfers. I don't remember
For the part. The streets are wild. Oh,
Yes.
punking in the street or thrashing in the streets.
Thrashing in the Streets, I think is what it was. Yeah, streets. Wow.
By
Who knows?
it was like Dead Kennedys or
I don't.
TSOL or
I don't think it was
something,
anybody of that much notoriety.
No, but
Because there
it
was
was commissioned, I think.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people on the that like are on this soundtrack.
It might have been Fear.
that kind of
yeah.
but they weren't ever that. Notable.
RHCP was the biggest group, but so then when they get revenge,
So this cuts
and
to the next day.
they burn this guy's. They burn
down Tyler's ramp. Shout out to Tyler,
all right, so we gotta say
one of
who
the ramp
Tyler is.
locals,
Yeah.
aka his name is Brooke McCarter. I believe he's actually passed away.
Oh shit!
Rest in power.
I always call him Marco, but Marco's Bill.
No, Marco is Bill. Yeah, this guy. I don't
So
know who
did
he
he-
is.
did he have a
Lost
name in
Boys.
that?
He does, but I don't know what it is.
He was just
So-
Onion Bath, I call him.
Yeah, he's holy
Onion
water holy water death breath
Yeah,
vampire
garlic breath. Yeah.
in Lost Boys. So Brooke McCarter, rest in peace.
Eat garlic death breath.
Yeah.
And he gets
Garlic don't work, boys.
and I gotta say Tyler gets beat up very easily.
So
Well,
yeah,
he beats Monk up.
he beats
This
the
is in
crap
front
out of
the
Monk.
house.
Shout out to Life Cereal.
Yeah, beer.
Beer.
Shout out to beer,
Popeyes.
Life Cereal, Popeyes,
We've gone through all the
Pepsi.
and Pepsi
Yeah.
and then Hennessy.
But then this guy's eating a bowl of Life Cereal. I think we're straight up with no milk. And he just jumps in and just mad cheap shot kicks him in the balls.
Yeah.
And
So what PBK is talking about here is we have a brawl out in the front. After the ramp is
a
burnt
front
down,
yard brawl.
our ramp locals decide they've had enough of the Dagger's torment, and they go to their front lawn, which it looks like it's just in shambles.
Car park. There's like a burnt out chassis of a car.
Yeah.
For no reason.
There's like a ramp going up to that car.
And you said it right. There was mad
There's
stenciled
just
daggers.
stenciled daggers all over. I'm sure the HOA is all over this, saying you guys got to do something here. It's the 14th notice we put on your door.
You're bringing the property value on this block down.
Yeah. So we have the ramp locals show up to basically challenge him to a fight.
Yeah.
And Tyler, played by Brooke McCarter, gets his first off. He beats the shit out of Monk, who
Maybe like
puts
a
up,
two-piece combo.
puts up zero fight
Yeah.
basically. And then your boy Tommy the Hook Versetti jumps in and just beats the living shit out of him.
He's got Thai bow skills.
Yeah, you said he chops on the balls one time, kind of sucker punches him,
Yeah.
and he
Kicks someone he's down.
kicks
too,
him when
I
he's
think.
down.
Yeah.
He's just like eat the. When you like that, you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very.
And then
very
Corey
bold.
jumps in,
Corey jumps in. Yeah.
and they escape, only to then be told another gauntlet to be thrown down. And this is a good segue for, now that I said gauntlet, to go for a medieval style joust.
We're gonna do this. Yeah, do this like men basically.
at
We're gonna
9 p.m. at Charles Bronson Canyon.
Yeah, with in the drain pipe
Yeah, it's pretty
about a quarter mile into the park.
A lot of near dark mist and steam machine, right?
Yeah.
Smoke machine. Yeah,
Everybody's getting ready for the fight,
including Evil Bitch. We didn't talk about.
Oh
her.
yeah, so
Johnny Depp's real-life girlfriend.
Sherilyn Fenn,
aka
Velvet, who is by far my favorite character in this movie.
way more smoking.
She is. So I
Than
knew
Gimli.
her from Twin Peaks, as well as she's in Of Mice and Men.
Oh shit! Really?
She's the girl who gets killed by Lenny. But Sherilyn Fenn, who plays Velvet, gets all painted up. So she's Tommy the Hook Versetti's girlfriend. She's the lead dagger chick, if you will. And she's trying to convince Chrissy to be a dagger as well, even though there's no attractive dudes for her to date in that crew.
It's very
'cause they're all
Capulet.
they're all sleazoids.
Yeah, it's very Capulet style.
But she basically she gets all dressed up looking like some
Gothic loveliness, like
gothic
smoking
version of like Susie Sue meets Sting, and Sting the wrestler. I mean, not Sting the musician, because her face is
Not
completely painted
Synchronicity
white.
Sting, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm
she's got,
talking
like, a
Scorpion
veins or
Deathlock
slash
Sting,
line. Yeah, hells
not
yeah.
the police Sting.
Hells yeah, a lariat.
Shout out to
Old
Sting
school.
from WCW.
Shout out to Lex Luger as well. Shout out to the Four
Shout out to
Horsemen.
the Four Horsemen. Shout out to the Wolf Pack.
Shout out to Arn and Tully Anderson,
out
the
to the
Minnesota Wrecking
NWO.
Crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hells yeah.
We could go off on wrestling
Yeah.
for a while. Anyway, so we have the joust, and
It's like bags full of pennies.
it's a great
Hooked
scene.
on
I loved it.
chains. Yeah.
So we have Corey versus Tommy. And what is basically what I can describe as a skateboard joust featuring a nunchuck / bag of pennies.
No,
that's
like
what it is.
like a hot water bottle from like
it
Looney
looks-
Tunes.
It looks like a whoopee cushion filled with like lead.
Yeah.
And it's on like a nunchuck, so they're spinning it like a mace. And they are skateboarding at one another in what could only be described as like a drain pipe in the middle of the desert.
It's kind of like the
/ woods.
precursor to the reptile, the bridge board in Mortal Kombat.
What bridge board?
Doesn't it have a name, that stage where you uppercut a guy and he gets impaled in MK1?
The pit?
It's yeah, thank you. That's what it's called, pit.
It's kind of like a pit.
It's kind of like a pit
because there are holes in it. You're right. They're like
But the
there's like
pit's on
burning
fire.
holes. He almost pushes him into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Yeah,
Shout
but
out-
it's
shout
a
out-
very very low rent version of that. Beyond low rent. I wouldn't
out-
even compare it to Mortal
Shout out to
Kombat.
MK2 Outworld Pit with a dude burning in the background. Remember
Yeah.
that as a kid?
Yeah.
What character is that?
God, don't get me started on Mortal Kombat. I'll
It's
nerd out for
Quan
hours.
Chi's brother.
But anyway,
So they're going back and forth.
They're jousting.
Super unrealistic.
the lighting looks great. There's
yeah.
fire everywhere. But
My
yeah,
instinct
it
would be
looks
to
kinda
get off the
silly.
skateboard and run after the guy and knock him off the skateboard.
Which
and
is
make
what
him
they
break
do
his
after
ankle.
about like 8 go rounds back
Yeah.
and forth, which
And-
they just look stupid.
Yeah.
As they like cross each other's path and hit each
Well,
other.
there's a couple
with
of
this like bag of soap bars
there's
on a nunchuck.
There's a couple of goofy passes, and then Tommy the Hook turns the heat up by introducing a Ho-Sung Pak bicycle kick. It's like
That's right. I forgot about this.
physiologically impossible. Like, they're both like this. He disappears into the crowd for like a good 10 seconds.
Like,
And
where
he's
is he?
"Are you mama like, yo, he jumped like up and straight.
Yeah.
So he shot through like
It's like
like Van Damme when he comes
it's
out
like
of the cryo thing and they kick Bison.
and he's
in
like
the
jumping
chest.
down into the pit too. So it's like a 12-foot jump with his skateboard.
It's like 30.
Like he's doing like a jump
Skateboard in
kick with
hand,
the
and he's doing a
skateboard.
flying jump kick,
And- and
straight out of Double Drag.
Brolo, like without batting an eye, just like hits him with the bag of pennies real quick.
This guy doesn't break his coccyx, his tailbone. He doesn't
how's-
break his
how's
ankle.
collarbone not shattered.
Yeah.
From
So fake.
From this like Kung Lao dive kick that he does right into the pit.
He fucking just dropped like
That was great.
pulled a scorpion, basically. Yeah, that was
yeah.
good. Yeah,
But that's not the end of it because
stunt move.
it doesn't affect them one bit. It
was very cool.
Because the next thing, like we said, they ditch the skateboards and they just start brawling.
yeah, and this is what leads us to believe that it's filled with something because he breaks Corey's arm.
Yeah, so
Corey's
Brolo's
arm.
on the ground. Tommy the Hook Versetti's just bashing him with the
bashing
coin
him on
purse. And it breaks-
Brian, do you mind saving my coin purse?
shout out to Stewie.
And then Stewie, and then the cops.
Cops show up.
Popo roll up.
And they don't get out of the car, mind you. We see the car pull up.
Yeah.
Nobody gets arrested.
Yeah.
It's
It's
idiot-
done very warrior stuff.
Yeah, and everybody just kind of leaves and scatters like roaches when the lights turn
They
on.
end up taking the
They
Capulets.
leave Brolo.
Yeah. But the daggers
to
end up
die.
taking Chrissy, and they leave Brolo to die. Then the next day, he's back.
No, nobody gets cited or arrested. I mean, there's fires blazing at this spot, which are a complete hazard,
It's just
especially in
LA '92
California.
riots. Yeah. Yeah. In a dry, like, lowland, like, desert kind
But,
of,
yeah.
the desert part of
This
Cali.
isn't a movie about people over the age of 20, 25. So,
This is a drinking movie.
with the
if
exception
you
of
ask
Sam
me.
Flood,
Yeah.
the compreneur guy. But yeah,
Whom
we completely
didn't-
forgot.
whom we
about
didn't
him.
talk about it.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So after this,
That's the prize to be won.
yeah,
As well as props for winning the LA Massacre, it's a contract with what kind of board was it?
his name is Sam Flood Mondo Boards.
Thank you, Mondo.
And
Boards.
Sam Flood is this like 60-year-old fat dude who
Mob
looks,
guy from Cleveland.
Yeah, he looks like he's
He
got moved from the
You
mob.
said he was into like
His-
from selling ice cream bars
Yeah.
to skateboarding.
His dad's like Italian, but his mom's, like Irish, so
Yeah,
he can
yeah,
never
yeah.
be fully up on the ladder. So they're like,
Right.
go sell skateboards out in California, you
Yeah,
loser. And he's like,
that's
okay.
right. Yeah.
And he totally looks like a total pedophile with like out the
Members
back of his
only
van.
jacket.
And
He's got the
member-
George Costanza's
He's
jacket.
just like selling boards out of his back of his van.
He's like, what does he say? He's like,
Apparently rich.
Chris Rivers won this in Tahoe race last
Yeah.
year. This could be you, kid.
So anyway, yeah, what we're basically saying is the very next thing, the LA Massacre, which is the big thing that happens. Then there's little things before that. Basically the prize is a bunch of money, and also Josh Brolin will win like a sponsorship, pro sponsorship,
Got
so
Mondo
he can
boards.
he can actually have a legitimate career doing this,
Yeah.
which apparently he deserves because he's supposedly top tier in this whole show. But before he gets to go to do the LA Massacre, him and Chrissy have a little problem because
There's a bit of a breakup.
up to this point, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's her fault, but she kind of has been antagonizing this whole Dagger ramp local thing by dating homeboy, but she doesn't tell him. Remember, she's keeping it. She's been keeping it in the dark the whole time, and he's not happy about it because it's getting
older brother.
It's getting him in trouble.
Yeah,
and Corey breaks up with her, and she decides she's had enough. She wants to leave.
Right.
Go back.
If I can't have Corey, no one can.
Go back to Fort Myers.
That's Florida. Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne.
She goes back to Gary.
Gary, Indiana.
Gary.
She's in Defiance, Ohio.
She's totally in Defiance.
Yeah. But she's basically
Sleepaway Camp girl.
She's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to the Midwest.
Yeah.
And this gives another montage way of Corey training for the LA Massacre, which is just a race.
With at this point, a very bad.
We're done with like the trick part of this
suicidal,
movie.
Cool,
This
is like a race of
and all that.
attrition, basically.
Yeah.
This is like 20 miles.
It's still, I can't remember what it was exactly.
It's like 20 miles.
It's like 10,
through the Sierra
12 to 20 miles
mountains
through,
or something. Yeah, like
downhill completely.
Inland
the whole
Empire,
time.
mountains.
And nobody would ever do this today.
Right.
Because first off, a skating race is a terrible idea.
Yeah. Oh, we said everybody ate shit in the first 5 minutes.
Ate shit in the first 5 minutes of this
They didn't
downhill
even
race.
They didn't even have like the people like truncated. You know, like in America, like when I
right. Yeah, I know. What
the few times I ran a marathon, like they'd have me by like age and weight and like expertise like category. So I'd usually be in like I got lucky one year and I was in the B group, but usually, I'm like either like B or C group. You have those fast guys they're going to do 10K in 30 minutes.
They're up there in the front.
Those guys are in the front, and they get a full 3 to 5 minutes before they shoot the next shot to let the other people go. So
Yeah. And they should
didn't
should
have
do the
this
same
at
thing
all.
for this.
Yeah. No,
obviously, this is fiction, but in reality, if this ever happened, the
There's
starting
a
the
lawsuit
starting
waiting to
gun
happen, yeah.
would be about like 5 people going ahead,
Right.
and the 40 in the back,
the best 10,
just
and the
all
40 guys,
failing to go forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a couple people in here that
Notable characters that we named affectionately.
Peter Weller
Has
a child in this movie, or at least that's what it looks like, and like
he's
a
got a
full-on
jumpsuit on, right?
luge suit.
Oh, I thought he had like a Valvoline,
It
like
looks like something.
Daytona 500.
It's
driver's
full
suit.
body
Yeah,
spandex suit.
He's losing it.
You know, we got like some characters that look like they're straight out of Streets of Rage.
We got a cowboy.
Yeah, there's like
got
there's a
Texas
cowboy.
Toast.
Yep.
A couple of Galcias.
A couple of Galcias and
Y,
Donovans.
R, and G
Y, R, and
signals.
G signals.
Yeah.
We have that. I love that scene where the guy is just like, he looks like, so there's like water stations set up for people to get water.
Oh, yeah, this guy, right?
And the guy who's going to the table to get like water, and some dude just decides to
push him
directly into the table.
That was duct tape guy, I think. Yeah.
And
80% duct tape.
It's silly. There's people eating shit left and right just because it's like, you're cue to eat shit. Now you eat shit. They tried to do some of these cool shots.
You could hear
of people falling off.
I could envision like the director, like, you Texas Toast, fall now. You know,
yeah.
Robo Kid, fall.
Yeah.
You know,
HK, it's your turn to go.
It's your turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's
baseball
hit or miss.
helmet guy. Motorcycle helmet guy. Yeah.
So yeah, we only have Corey and Tyler, as well as Hook.
Representing the ramp locals. And then Hook and TA.
As well as like a million and one. There's a million and one daggers.
But they all and Al Leong's.
Yeah, but they all eat shit. Like Al Leong's character goes up into the tree
100 feet.
And AC Rufio is dumbass is ollieing, like doing tricks.
yeah. We
down
said
the
slowing
fucking
himself
downhill.
down. Yeah.
And thank God he eats shit, because it's like, you stupid moron. This
Yeah,
isn't a
yeah,
trick competition.
yeah.
You're losing speed.
Yeah.
So he eats shit too. But then basically the final 10 is, Tyler, who disappears into the back and gets like 8th place.
Yeah.
You got Corey and Tommy, who obviously become the top 2.
Yeah.
And TA eats it right around like 3rd place, trying to take out Corey. And it's like that final kind of like, he's taking out all the daggers one by one.
Well, because they whip. I think TA whips.
Yeah, they're whip. Yeah, the daggers are actively trying to get Tommy to win. I think
Yeah.
is what it looks
So they
like. They're
whip Tommy
they're
in
holding
front.
people in the back and,
Yeah.
and having people eat
And
shit on
they're
purpose.
probably sacrificing themselves.
exactly
on
They
purpose,
want-
right?
And then Corey is kind of just making his way up to the ranks.
Yeah.
Until we get to the final leg of the race, which is basically just the two of them,
Yeah.
and they kind of switch a little bit, don't they? They go from
They go from white lady or Asian lady
Asian to
in
white
the van
lady, yeah,
to white lady shot out through the door.
Shout out to episode 103.
Bodo cop style.
Yeah, exactly. But
They'll fix you.
It's totally.
They fix everything.
they didn't fix this though.
It's totally not them, and like the camera's like mad on top of their faces.
Yeah. So Robert Russler, our Grecian Hawaiian god, Gaston
Gaston via Waikiki,
basically turns into like some dude who looks like he's either from like Thailand or Philippines or something.
Yeah.
And like
it's probably Tommy Guerrero.
probably a less than passing resemblance.
Yeah.
And Brolo's character,
It's just some brunette.
with longer hair, and it's just like 40 pounds lighter than Brolo.
Skinnier. Yeah.
And they're doing like their synchronized skating, which, like you said, you were like, it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I at first I thought it was kind of silly, but when I watched it the second, third time around, it does look kind of cool.
Well,
The
I
way
said
they're doing,
well, they got their hands on the thing. That's why they taped their fingertips.
right,
you
yeah,
know?
and then they're doing like the tight turns, which I could never do something like that on a
Yeah.
skateboard.
No, it's just,
which I
that's
thought was
on the
pretty cool.
side, Yeah. But they, I was mentioning this as far as like director of photography or whatnot. That stuff you said this in the last episode of Pound of Flesh. Fight stuff is filmed slower and then sped up. This probably was filmed slow and or they done this. As I said, this looks even slow for a movie.
Yeah, it does.
Taking those turns in reality,
And I understand there's
so
safety
fast.
precautions and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
But like certain spots, they're going really fast and it looks really slick.
Well, like I said,
and then other spots they're just like slow cruising.
I think prior to this, there was no skateboard movie. So this
Probably.
this was like America's introduction to like mainstream skateboarding.
There's probably a lot of trial and error trying to figure out how to film this.
Right,
shit.
how to film it at what speed. We did miss a very huge chunk of the film in that after the breakup, we end up with a bus depot that doubles as a pizzeria. And when
You're absolutely right.
when Chrissy does leave to go back to Fort Wayne, Indiana, we find that she's probably way past Death Valley and in somewhere like Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yeah, she's like
At least like 1,700 miles.
She's like about
from Southern California.
at least 1,000 miles ahead.
And she's got to make it back. And
Yeah.
how does she do it, Bill?
She hitchhikes back with like the Manson family or somebody.
The first time.
Yeah, she's.
And she shows a bit
And
of
then
leg.
shows up. Large Marge shows up from Pee-wee.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
But she does she does show a little bit of leg. I thought that was good. I thought that was racy.
Super creepy.
Yeah. And then Large Marge picks
She's like
her
16.
up. What'd you say it was? Sundown Trucking?
Sundown Express.
Sundown Express. And in a matter of her like protesting and telling the guy like at night at like 4 a.m. when she's outside of Santa Fe, no lights, there's like no light pollution, nothing. He's like, I want off. I've got to get back to my boyfriend. So where the driver would tell, there's coyotes, scorpions, mosquitoes, javelinas, all kinds of shit that'll kill you, girl.
Yeah.
And love will not wait for any of that.
I'm so surprised that you actually remember this because this is the perfect segue. Because she gets out of the truck.
And it's 362 miles to LA.
Right as your boy Tommy the Hook Vercetti and Corey are coming down.
And her
like
clothes
the final
are changed.
Yeah. And
She
she's
had
dressed-
Betty White clothes.
She's dressed like a 38-year-old librarian when she's like probably 16 years
Yeah.
old. And she comes like at the perfect moment, like right when the race is about to end.
The final like 500 feet.
The final 500 feet. There she is. Oh my God.
Yeah, just in the crowd. And I said it right. The most boner killing jump after that final ramp scene.
So Tommy the Hook Vercetti
Yeah.
and Corey are neck and neck.
Yeah.
Chrissy shows up, and within a matter of seconds of that happening, Tommy the Hook Vercetti just eats shit.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes over. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he goes over the
Yeah,
edge.
he definitely.
Pulls a cap.
Yeah, he pulls a cap.
No! I can't lose! See my power!
They felt his power. Thank you, Alec Baldwin. So, we get that very anticlimactic board ramp jump with no kickflip, no Ollie McTwist, no nothing. And he's the winner. Zach is the winner. Yeah.
Yep.
And he wins. And then in a bit of saccharine kind of sweetness, don't know how Tommy the Hook ends up flying 60 feet to his demise into like pure brutal like
the brush
thornbriar like
on the side of the highway,
on the side of the highway,
like a ditch, like 40 feet down.
110-degree heat.
Rolls over to the finish line.
No pads, no helmet, nothing.
Not a scrape on him.
And literally like 30 seconds after, he's right behind, shaking fucking Corey's hand. He's like, "That was insane, bruh." Weren't you just dead? Like
says to
a
his
mile
sister,
back? Yeah.
"That's a pretty crazy boyfriend you got."
Oh
there."
yeah. Your boyfriend's pretty wild. So I did enjoy that in a very Reading Rainbow type of after school special way. He does acknowledge that yes, by winning a fucking worthless skating competition, he therefore ends up becoming Chrissy's boyfriend.
Bastard.
That's right. And then Tyler, you said, makes a place, and I almost kind of get the feeling like our homegirl Velvet is kind of like broken up or like scorned. Was it just
No, I know what
me?
you're talking about. No, that like final
Yeah.
look where she's almost like,
She's like,
no.
or she's like, I don't like you, or like it's over between us.
Maybe.
I kind of got that feeling.
There's definitely like a look of like her heart is dropped, and it's, you could almost infer probably it's over, but I don't know. This is too feel good of a movie.
Or maybe that she wants to pork Corey already.
She probably does. She's done with the Versetti.
She's done with the Versetti.
She wants the Brolo.
She wants that Mondo sponsorship.
Yep.
Unreal, man! 10,000 frog skins.
Yeah, right. Plus Sam Flood says, "You're it." When he says, "You got it, kid,"
Right,
and he
right,
says, "I
right.
did it." It's
Right. It is very feel good. It's not feel good like Stranger Things or Goonies or E.T., but I'd say like a B grade level feel
This
good.
is feel good, like
This is fine.
like Home Alone feel good. It's going. It's going to end well before the movie even starts.
Right, you know the good guy's gonna win for sure. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And I mean, there's a lot to be said about movies that we need more movies like this. To
Yeah.
be quite frank. Yeah.
It's fun. It's silly.
Yeah.
And that leads us into, I guess, kind of towards the end of this here.
The reviews.
Yeah.
Trivia.
So PBK, what would you give this movie out of 5?
Based on I was saying before, just based on the feel-good aspect of it, this is a good party movie. This is a good movie to have with friends over, whether you're partaking in any sort of drink or just like us, we just had a fun time watching it soberly. As much as we thrashed it, no pun intended, or as much as we ripped into it, I'm going to say, straight up 5 out of 5. Looks, clothes, an LA that's gone, an America that's gone.
Yeah, most definitely.
A pre-internet, pre-fucking everybody's cell phone camera America. You know what they should have used? They should have used the song Kim Wilde's "We're the Kids in America." Actually,
Yeah.
that would have been the best.
This would have been
song.
that came out years before this, so yeah, that would have made sense.
We're the kids in America. Whoa! But the T-shirts, the Venice part, the fucking diversity, the racial diversity of the daggers. My favorite scene with Tommy playing air guitar. You just missed my concert, man.
Yeah.
Your favorite line, that wild Indian picture.
Yeah.
Was totally styling.
That wild Indian picture, I was styling.
That's what Wiz said when he was in his varsity jacket with a cowboy hat on.
Oh, wait.
But it's good. I thought it was one of the better films we've seen since we started this show. And really,
Agreed.
almost like I'd give it a flawless victory.
So I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
All right. Why is that?
So the nostalgia factor hit it really high for me. The skater factor, which they nailed pretty well.
Yeah.
It's as far as like a skater aspect.
Right.
If you know anything about skating, you're gonna be at least somewhat impressed with how they did it and all the references and all that stuff. Shout out to Independent Trucks and Mondo Boards and
Bones Brigade,
Bones
Santa
Brigade.
Cruz. Yeah.
all that stuff. Venice Beach, skate park, and all that crap. But yeah. The only thing that kept it from me giving it a 5 out of 5, I would think, would be the really shitty sex scene, which I thought was way too long.
Wasn't even that important.
Super unnecessary.
Yeah, for sure. Not
And
necessary. They
your-
could have
your
gone.
boy- and
They
your
could have
boy-
gone away with like a kiss.
and your boy Radster.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
did
didn't
not
talk
like
about
Radster
Yeah.
at all from the Ramp Locals. That guy was not. I was not a fan.
Tell you, pork pie hat, fedora,
My biggest problem
lock
with
around his
Radster.
chin,
Okay,
yeah.
so you've got
hipster.
got
Radster,
Brolo,
hipster.
you got Tyler, you got
Yeah.
Radster, you got Bozo,
You got
and
the
then
kid.
what's his name?
Steve or kid. I don't know. Like the 12-year-old.
There's only
tag
2
along.
skaters out of that group. PBK.
And it's Brolo.
Brolo and
Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Because Bozo,
Yeah.
Radster, and the kid
They're just
never
tag
are in
alongs,
any of the
yeah.
competitions.
Nope.
You maybe see them skate in the very beginning once, and then in that like Hollywood Boulevard thing.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of like skater groupies a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, didn't like them.
The car scenes were good.
But yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. This movie was great. Like I said, if I'd seen this when I was a kid, I would give this 5 out of 5 just
Oh, I went
because
6 out of 5.
Yeah, I wish I had seen this when I was like 8 or 9 years old. It would have been perfect.
I did also want to point out the wholesomeness of it in tandem with the fact that something like if you just think of the plot of the movie, and right now we're in a time where we just saw now like Ghostbusters is getting remade for the 3rd time now, and Home Alone now is getting like a 5th unnecessary sequel. So in the
Most
age
definitely, yeah.
of unwavering fucking unoriginality, I'll say that a film like this, it's very hard, if not like nigh impossible, to have a film with young adults where it isn't rife with sex and like. So think of it like outside of The Outsiders, which is tame by even like 1990. So like Outsiders 83, right, which is based on 50s Tulsa, Oklahoma anyway, but let's say even like a movie like The Wanderers or Karate Kid, you know, flash forward like 7 years later to like Boys in the Hood and like Poetic Justice, Menace to Society, rest in peace, John Singleton. The 90s, you see this era being ushered in of like, I don't want to use the word, but I'm going to use it anyway, like woke teen movies where think of this world of thrashing like, my biggest life's ambition is to win this stupid race. And there's something very nice about something where a plot can be that simple, you know?
Yeah, the simplicity is bliss here.
That door is closed now forever, because even as teenagers, it's like the teens are hackers or they've got drugged out parents, you know, like there was
Right.
none of that in this film at all.
I think what you're trying to say is it's nice to see a movie where
It was like a 50s movie, but done in the 80s. So like Boy Meets Girl,
Yeah.
West Side Story, like you said.
there's also like we talked about this last time we talked. Like the skater hoedown thing is a very like 50s doo-wop feel to it.
Right.
And there's kind of like a sock hop thing going on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's definitely elements of that old 50s mentality of like the two gangs from the other sides, you know, opposite sides of the town, opposite sides of the track or whatever. And a movie where parents and like the adults are they're non-existent.
They were non-existent in this film at all.
Which also, like you said,
We saw like Tom Flood, and that was it.
it's refreshing to have a movie that's so simplistic in the sense that it's talking about teenagers having teenager problems and teenager things, and
Right.
it's never that serious because
It's not.
although we feel like our teen years were extremely
Right.
woeful,
Fucking do or die.
and,
and
yeah.
everything was the end of the universe.
but in hindsight and in retrospect, it's a little bit more just about having a
our
good
lives
time.
now are
Yeah.
fucking rife with responsibility. But yeah, I didn't see any. There was no bigger responsibility than to like be the best fucking skater ever, man, and that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what these kids were doing.
Yeah.
and having a good time while they're doing it.
Maybe
yeah.
like Red Dawn would be the only film that was
But that's
adult themed.
That's very
and
also
sci-fi.
That's very like also political and some.
Yeah.
nature.
But I would like, as far as like ensemble, not to say that Thrashin is an ensemble
But yeah,
cast.
it's the same time as that movie too, as well.
Maybe like a
80s.
year or two after, yeah. But Red Dawn, you see that, yeah, it's a bunch of kids, but it's literally America's being invaded, you know.
Yeah,
And this was like so. I'm gonna say it again. Whatever, fucking damn me to hell if you want. It was so innocent, so playful, and literally it's a bunch of testosterone-filled teenage boys just literally carefree, just wanting to skate.
soaking up the LA sun and hanging out with their brajers.
Get the best barrels ever, dude. Just like you pull in and you just get spit right out of them. And you just drop in and just smack the lip. Whoop-ah! Drop down, snap, and then after that, you just drop in, just ride the barrel and get pitted. So pitted like that.
That guy snorted too much WD-40 without the red straw.
Smoking dust with Surfer, dude. But yeah,
guy.
so that's basically Thrashin' in a nutshell.
Highly recommended.
Yes, highly recommend.
Yeah.
Shout out to Amazon Prime. It is on there for free until
check it
further
out.
notice.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sherilyn Finn, aka Velvet. Woo! My favorite character in this
Shout out
movie.
to her pointy tatas in that brassiere that she had.
Yeah.
I don't have his number.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, we'll get it.
She went back to Indiana.
Yeah. On a somber note, we have to say that
Yes.
not only is
Brooke McCarter
Brooke McCarter no
passed
longer
away,
with us, but
Pamela Gidley as well had passed
Chrissy
away.
herself had passed away.
And
at like 54, was it?
I think somewhere around there.
Due to cancer.
She had
so
cancer,
rest
which
in
is
peace,
unfortunate.
Pamela Gidley.
But yeah, thanks again to everybody involved in this movie for putting it out there.
Thanks to Brolin, who's fucking. He played George W. Bush, Abe Lincoln, and
Thanos,
and fucking Cable.
Yeah.
So it's like, Planet Terror. He's been in everything.
Yeah, before he was, tearing up the world as one of the biggest stars of modern age. He was.
He was a goonie. He was fucking thrashing.
Yeah, he was hanging out with Thrashin' crew.
Wow.
Shout out to TA and Tommy the Hook Versetti.
Yeah.
Anything else you would like to add before we leave, PBK?
Yeah. Actually, another alumni of the Zephyr Boys. Like I said, Jay Adams, who is kind of like the most messed up out of all of them. I have a lot of respect for him, but I know he's got his story. He's got a lot of internal demons or whatever with drugs, alcohol, whatnot. He was in prison a bunch of times. But he, along with Tony Alva and Stacy Peralta, if you guys are interested, Stacy Peralta started Bones Brigade with whomever else. That's a great documentary to watch. Should be free on either Amazon Prime or Netflix. It's 2014 documentary.
Actually, I think he's actually in this movie. He's the guy doing the freestyle.
Maybe.
Calls him Purr.
Maybe. And check out his other documentaries, Riding Giants and Made in America, The Story of the Bloods and Crips. So Stacy Peralta, from being a classic skateboarder, became an excellent documentarian. Thank you.
But yeah.
Other than that, we'll see you guys on the flip side. I'll see you on the half pipe, all right?
Thanks again for coming in for episode 105, Thrashin'.
This has been another episode of
Into the Night.
I'm out, man. Peace.
Raise them both, and now this dude gonna kill my ass next.
So hard. Oh, wait. Oh, wait.